The word Istari is an elvish term denoting an order or brotherhood of wizards. Such wizards are Moauro, spirits older than Middle-earth itself, who have been sent by the Valar, the oldest and greatest beings of all, out of the undying lands into the mortal world to guide the free peoples of Middle-earth in their fight against the growing evil of the Dark Lord Sauron. We're about to study about two very important Istari in the Fellowship of the Ring. Gandalf the Grey and Saruman the White. In just a few minutes on my podcast miniseries, Video Gamers Oasis presents The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Visual Companion by Jude Fisher, and my reading and commentary. Stay tuned. Video Gamers Oasis on YouTube presents podcast mini-series The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Visual Companion, my reading and commentary. Hello again, welcome back to Video Gamers Oasis presents The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, Visual Companion. I'm your host Jeremy, back again with reading this beautifully illustrated picture book with articles by Jude Fisher. There's a link in the description if you want to buy the book. It's a great gift. You're inclined to that. We've been studying about Moauro. We finished everything about the dwarves, and we got to scratch the surface on the Istari last episode on pages 54 and 55. We learned about how these are beings that were sent by the Valar to help in the battle against Saruman. Powerful wizards, a brotherhood of wizards. Not too much information except besides that. But we're going to learn about the two different wizards in the story of the Fellowship of the Ring and the movie specifically, with Gandalf the Grey on page 56 and Saruman the White. So on page 56 and 57, we're going to start with the Gandalf the Grey. Before we begin, would you be so kind as to send some likes and loves? I do appreciate it. Subscribe, click the notification bell if you like The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and Tolkien lore. If you want to see more content on this, mainly a video gaming channel, but I like to do a lot of information on fantasy, lore, mythology, Tolkien lore especially. In this case, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks so much. I do appreciate it. Now, I got my magnifying glass to help me focus, as well as my reading glasses. So, that being said, let us begin. Page 56, the Istari, starting with Gandalf the Grey. And there's a quotation that reads, "It's that wandering conjurer, Gandalf." Page 56, first paragraph. Being fond of the race of hobbits, the wizard Gandalf visits Hobbiton from time to time to see his friend Bilbo Baggins, with whom he has shared many adventures, and to oversee the safety of the Shire, and ensure the shadow that stretches even further from Mordor does not encroach upon his delightfully sleepy rural backwater. Second paragraph. But to the inhabitants of Hobbiton, he is known largely as a wandering conjurer, a blower of smoke rings, and purveyor of fireworks. Little do these small folk realize the true powers of their occasional visitor. They see only his outward form, that of an old greybeard robed in a dusty cloak with a tall pointed hat upon his head, a man worn by the passage of time, who uses his staff as a mere walking stick to lean upon and aid his travel. And here is a quotation from the movie, or just below that paragraph, it reads, "Why did the Valar send me here in this old man's body, prone to every mortal ache and pain?" That's Gandalf the Grey speaking. He knows he's much more than just a man, an elderly man in this case. He is of the Valar, he is sent by the Valar as an Istari, an angelic visitor, guider, protector, battler against the shadow of Mordor. And here we have a photograph of Gandalf the Grey arriving on his wagon, pulled by one horse, as he arrives at the Shire where Frodo Baggins is. It's a great entry, great opening scene. And here is on page 57 the other photograph of Gandalf the Grey holding a staff without his hat, just wearing his grey robe. And he's holding a staff, walking through some trees and some bushery. And just so we can get that out of the way, yes, I know who this is. It is the one, the only legendary Ian McKellen. Yes, a great actor, great performer of many classic. I believe he started off as a very theatrical Shakespearean actor. He stars in many great Hollywood films, including as this performance as Magneto in the original X-Men series. And he is just such a gallant, such a great speaker, a great user of words, performances. He has great gravity when he enters the room. And I highly recommend you see his movies and his performance as Gandalf the Grey. I do appreciate him very much. Now we're moving on to the next page on Gandalf the Grey, and that is page 57. Let's read right underneath the photograph, and it reads, paragraph, "As one of the Istari, Gandalf is able to wield potent magic and is immensely knowledgeable about Middle-earth's history and the lore of its many peoples. His true age is unknown." It's a mystery. Next paragraph, "It is Gandalf the Grey, known by the elves as Mithrandir." And I'll spell that out. Mithrandir. Mithrandir. Who will lead the fellowship out of Rivendell at the beginning of their quest to destroy the ruling ring in the fires of Mount Doom. Although the temptation to use the ring, paragraph to the right, next column, himself must surely be strong, even though his instinct would be to use it to good purpose. Gandalf knows that the power of the ring, added to his own innate strength, would create a force too great and terrible to imagine. That would be terrible if he actually had the One Ring and used it. Final paragraph, "To do battle with the forces of darkness, Gandalf the Grey can call upon not only his spellcraft, but also his staff of power and the elven sword, Glamdring." I'll spell that out at Glamdring. Glamdring. There's a final quotation here from Gandalf the Grey, and it reads, "It is not the strength of the body that matters, but the strength of the spirit." I can definitely tell I'm not an authority on Tolkien's book, but I do see, if Tolkien did write this, I can see the elements of the Christ-like symbolism of Gandalf being like the Christ. In the Bible, he says, the spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. A lot of elements of biblical mythology and symbolism in the story, as well as other religions of the world. You can see it with trained eye. But there you have it. That's one of the heroes of the story, Gandalf the Grey, who aids Frodo on his quest. Now we're moving on to the final paragraph and final chapter of the Istari, and we're going to learn about the mysterious Saruman the White. And that's on page 58, and let's get it out of the way right now. Another awesome actor who is no longer with us, Christopher Lee, the late Christopher Lee. He was an excellent performer in this movie, as well as the other Lord of the Rings movies. You may have remembered him as Count Dooku from the Star Wars prequel series. He has played many great villains, including he has played many great villainous horror roles, including the unforgettable Hammer version of Dracula. He will be forever known as that performance, but of course he's been in other classic horror mystery thrillers. Saruman the White, page 59. And here is a quotation here from that we want to read. The wisest of my order, his knowledge of ring lore is deep. Long has he studied the arts of the enemy. So Saruman is a very knowledgeable and wise wizard who has educated himself in the occult knowledge of the enemy. First paragraph. The wizard Saruman the White, Lord of Isengard, is the greatest of the Istari Brotherhood, known throughout Middle-earth for his vast store of knowledge of all things arcane and esoteric. He has devoted much study to the matter of the rings of power and, in particular, to the ruling ring, its making, and its history as it has passed from one hand to another, and into obscurity, believing that if he and his order find it, they themselves can make the best use of it against the growing power of the Dark Lord. Next quotation here below that paragraph reads, the world is changed, Gandalf. A new age is at hand, the age of men, which we must rule. Are we not the Istari? Within this frail human form, does not the spirit of the Maya live? That's Maya spelled M-A-I-A. And I suppose I do some research on that. Maya is, I believe, some kind of symbolism of the divine Holy Spirit, or the active force of God in this mythology. Page 59, next paragraph to the left, in the bottom corner of the page. Saruman's home is Orthanc, O-R-T-H-A-N-C, Orthanc, a vast tower hewn from a solid pillar of unbreakable black obsidian, which rises to a great pronged spire. The Tower of Orthanc stands at the heart of Isengard, the strategic fortress that lies in a commanding position between the Misty Mountains and the Gap of Rohan. Its main defense is a natural ring wall of stone that measures a mile or more from rim to rim, enclosing beautiful trees and gardens, watered by streams that flow down from the mountains. Unknown to all but Saruman, Isengard is home to one of, next column to the right, the rare seeing stones. The Palantir, that's spelled P-A-L-A-N-T'-I-R. A great ball of black stone with which the wizard is able to spy upon the whereabouts and fortunes of both allies and foes throughout Middle-earth. Next quotation. Creation is the greatest power. And final paragraph reads on page 59, the caverns below Isengard hide another secret. Down there, a new breed of creature is being hatched, as Saruman plans to form an army of his own to rival the Dark Lords. We'll turn the page, and we have the photograph of Saruman in his obsidian tower in this vast palace-like area. A lot of candles, as well as he's got his throne he's sitting on. Very beautiful, as well as spooky. And there you have it, folks. That is all there is about the Istari on pages 56 to 59. We're going to learn more about these two wizards in the future, and it'll be exciting to see how they're developed. Of course, we know those who have seen the movie know what happens. But it's definitely two great performances from two great giants of theater, Sir Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee. Tune in next time. We'll continue this reading another day, probably next week, most likely. We're going to shift gears from the forces of light to the forces of darkness in this mythology. We're going to start with the dark powers, starting with page 62. I'm probably going to learn about the Black Riders and the orcs on pages 64 and 65, the soldiers of the Dark Lord Saruman himself. And we'll learn more about other characters later on. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring Visual Companion by Jude Fisher. In my reading and commentary, it's a podcast mini-series if you haven't gathered already. I do this once a week, and I find it enjoyable to talk about these fantasy characters and learning about the lore and the trivia involved. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Let me know you want to see more videos by be notified for future videos. I'm Jeremy from Video Gamers Oasis, wishing you a happy, healthy, and prosperous holiday season, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, any of the other holidays this season. Stay safe, stay healthy, and may you have an enjoyable and satisfying time. And I will see you again next time. I will work toward next week as well. It's December the 8th, 2024. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.